Good afternoon, I'm Desiree Moses, coming to you live from In Your Ear Studios in Richmond. We have a real treat today. We are so thrilled to be joined by Molly Tuttle. Give her a round.
Thank you.
Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway playing a WNRN Presents show tonight with Marcus King and Charlie Crockett at Virginia Credit Union Live. Took home Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album for last year's Crooked Tree. And the new album is City of Gold. We're going to talk more about that, but we'd love if you kick it off with a song. What would you like to play for us?
We'll play the title track off the record. This one's called Dorado. I'm Gold Rush Kate from the Golden State with a nugget around my neck. Keep the red lights burning bright from here to hell and back. Dug for silver and for gold from Boulder up to Hayes. But when I hit Coloma, boys, I made my final claim. Crossed the high Sierras in the spring of 48. And every man with a shovel and pan has stumbled through my gates. Behind these doors, whiskey pours and loving flows like wine. Miners boast mother loads, they'll dig or else die trying. Dorado, woo-hoo. They come from far and wide to quell the fever in their souls. It haunts the brain, they've gone insane for the glimmer of the gold. The devil must have drug them here down a one-way path. 'Cause when you hit Coloma, boys, you never make it back. There's Redwood Bill, he could drink his fill, soaking John the Rover. Bad Luck Dave's in his grave, his gold dust days are over. They fill the pans with blood and sand, calling to God upstairs. But in the golden country, boys, the Lord don't hear your prayers. Dorado, woo-hoo. Cross yourself on Hangman's Hill if you run into Reno Maria. When the sky's dark, you can read the stars from Mars to Cassiopeia. She comes around when the sun comes down with fortunes to be told. For a copper penny, she'll tell you plenty except where to find the gold. Stay away from Snake Old Jake, he'll fool you with fountain pen. One look in his eyes, you'll be hypnotized. He's got that sleight of hand. Sleek and fat like an old tomcat, they say he has 9 lives. But Snake Old Jake sure met his fate when they shot him down 10 times. Don't stake a claim with the Dogtown gang or the boys from Rough and Ready. Don't thumb your nose at the Sydney Cove, 'cause the hammer comes down heavy on every jack who tries to hack his way to fortune there. Comes to find he's last in line to be a millionaire. Dorado, woo-hoo. Dorado, city of gold, city of fools. Heard the news from Siskiyou, the rush is moving on, leaving old Coloma boys and bound for Oregon. Here in town, the tailing piles have all gone to rust. One day boom, but pretty soon your booming days are bust. So now I sweep the empty streets and boarded up saloons. Seen them fade from golden days to ghost towns left to ruin. Was it worth the blood and dirt to dig our lives away? But life goes quick, so come get rich in California. Dorado, woo-hoo. Dorado, city of gold, city of fools. Has the fever got a hold on you? I've seen it all, the rise and fall. Now I'll take my rest. I'm last one left. Thank you.
Molly Tuttle live on WNRN from In Your Ear Studios in Richmond, playing at Virginia Credit Union Live tonight with Marcus King and Charlie Crockett. Molly, can you tell us who's playing with you today?
This is Bronwyn Keith Hines on the fiddle.
Right. Thank you both for being here. That was El Dorado off the new album, City of Gold. So, Molly, you grew up in California. Can you talk to us about how the state influenced your artistry?
Yeah, I think, well, like for instance, that song is kind of written about the California gold rush. And I feel like in my past couple albums, like Crooked Tree and this album, I've just kind of gotten nostalgic for my home state of California. I live in Nashville, Tennessee now. And that song I wrote with Ketch Secor, who I wrote pretty much the whole album with. And it came from, I was just telling you about when I was a kid, I went on this field trip to the gold country in Coloma, which was the site of the first gold strike in California. And there were all these like cool characters who would teach the kids how to pan for gold in the river. And there was this kind of like grizzled old miner guy who wore this gold nugget around a chain on his neck. And that just was one of those things that I just have a very vivid memory of from my childhood. And so we thought it would be fun to kind of write a song and try to come up with our own characters who might have come out to California to strike it rich.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, you started playing guitar when you were just a kid. Your father's a bluegrass musician and teacher. You played in the family band for a little while, but I'm curious, for you, what about bluegrass, what made it stick for you? Obviously, we know how you got into it, influenced by your family, but what about the tradition stuck for you and made it something that you wanted to continue to pursue?
I think just growing up, going to bluegrass festivals and jam sessions with my dad, I love that community aspect of the music. Like in our band Golden Highway, I feel like we've all known each other for like over a decade now. You kind of grow up and get to know other people. Well, as a kid, I met other kids my age who played bluegrass, and they became some of them are lifelong friends. And so it's just kind of part of my identity. And I've definitely explored other genres, but I think with my last record, Crooked Tree, I really felt like I wanted to kind of incorporate that part of myself into my music. I hadn't made like a full-on bluegrass album. And then we formed our band Golden Highway, and Bronwyn and I have been playing together with the rest of the band for the past year and a half, and it's been so much fun that we thought we would go into the studio and make our first like real band record, which became City of Gold.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think especially during like the pandemic, I think I really missed that sense of community that I get from bluegrass music. It's really like you go and play a show and half the audience also plays music as well. And you might see people like breaking out into a jam session after the show. It's just kind of like, it's like a type of music for the people, I guess.
Yeah, and in the traditional bluegrass, it's very much, as you're saying, about the community, and it's kind of passed down generation to generation, and, there's certain old standards in storytelling.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there are certain stories, as you write new bluegrass songs, like, all originals on the last couple of albums, do you feel like there's certain stories that you have a responsibility to tell, like the stories of your home state?
Yeah, I think when I first started writing songs, I had a really hard time writing bluegrass songs because I grew up singing songs by Bill Monroe that were like about Kentucky and the South. Now I live in Tennessee, but I didn't grow up there. So I was like, how does my story fit into this genre that people associate with Appalachia? And but slowly I kind of like found people to help me, like Melody Walker, who I wrote a lot of Crooked Tree with, and Ketch Secor. They kind of helped me pull out these stories from my life that could turn into bluegrass songs. But it took me a while to figure out how to do that.
And then City of Gold sort of taps into life on the road and touring with Golden Highway. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a couple songs about life on the road, and a lot of the songs were kind of inspired by my band members and just like fun times we've had on the road and things we've talked about. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'd love it if you play another one for us.
Sure. We thought we'd do... this one we haven't played a whole lot of times, but it's like one on the album that I feel like has kind of like a different vibe from anything else we've done before. It's called More Like a River. Bottles of wine, drugstore wishes, X's and O's, chocolate kisses, fruit of the vine, well, that's just fine. But we got love that won't run dry. It rolls along and goes forever. Our love, babe, is more like a river. More like a river, wild and blue. Roll away, carrying my love straight to you. Roll away. I used to think love was a rose or a diamond, just a four-leaf clover waiting for you to find it. It's a valentine, a golden ring, a stroll in the park on the first day of spring. But here in your arms, it's a whole lot bigger. We got love more like a river. More like a river, wild and blue. Roll away, carrying my love straight to you. Roll away. They say love strikes like a roll of a dice, like an arrow flies, then it's gone in the blink of an eye. But a river takes you with it. All you gotta do is jump on in it. So while you're away on your midnight ramble and I'm singing on the West Coast, it's hard to handle the months, the miles, the mountains between. Our love springs up just like a bubbling stream. So step on in, feel your whole body shiver. We got love more like a river. More like a river, wild and blue. Roll away, carrying my love straight to you. Roll, more like a river, wild and blue. Roll away, carrying my love straight to you. Roll away.
Molly Tuttle live on WNRN from In Your Ear Studios in Richmond, playing a WNRN Presents show tonight, Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway with Marcus King and Charlie Crockett. Doors at 7, doors at 6, shows at 7 at Virginia Credit Union Live. So I have to sing your praises for a minute, Molly. So Molly took home Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album for last year's Crooked Tree. And you were the first female guitarist to win the International Bluegrass Music Association's Guitar Player of the Year award. And so I just want to know what it is like to be yes. Let's give a round of applause for that. Yes. What is it like to be recognized in a category that's been dominated by men?
It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like any award is just kind of like recognition from your community, recognition from your peers. And Bronwyn, I have to brag and say Bronwyn's the reigning IBMA Fiddle Player of the Year.
Yes.
I'm the no longer reigning Guitar Player of the Year, but I was at one point. And I think that was like a really big kind of confidence boost for me. I was probably 24 when I first won that award. And it is hard, like coming up in a music that's more dominated by men. A lot of your heroes are men, like the founders of bluegrass music, and so that kind of can make you feel like a bit of an imposter at times. But then, like, I don't know about you, but for me, just kind of feeling that recognition from people that they liked my guitar playing and liked my music, it was like, oh, cool. Okay, I guess I'm doing something right.
Absolutely. I want to go back to something that we were talking about previously when it comes to community in bluegrass. So on your last record, you mentioned writing with Ketch Secor from Old Crow Medicine Show. Several collaborations on that record. Margot Price, Billy Strings. Mm-hmm. On this album, you collaborated with Dave Matthews on the song Yosemite, which we're about to start spinning this week on WNRN. So we know the importance of the sense of community in the bluegrass tradition, but when it comes to picking collaborators on these studio tracks, how do you go about doing that and figuring out who's the right match for which song?
Yeah, like on Crooked Tree, I kind of went nuts and like called anyone. Like, I just felt like the songs, I could hear all these friends of mine and musical heroes singing on them, and it was like I was just calling up so many people who I dreamed to collaborate with. And you said Margot Price, that song she sang on Flatland Girl. I knew that she had a record called Midwestern Farmer's Daughter, and that song is all about my family ties to the Midwest and my grandfather's farm. So I just felt like it would be great to get another Midwestern farm girl on the track. And on the new record, I wanted to kind of dial it back and keep it really focused on our band. But I did have that song Yosemite that I really heard as a duet. And we, Bronwyn and I had the chance to go play a show with Dave Matthews down in Cancun about a year and a half ago now. And we got to meet him, and he was so nice and so supportive. And we kind of kept in touch. And then I sent him the song just like on a whim. I was like, well, this would be the ultimate person I'd love to have sing on it, not thinking that he actually would, but he right away was like, sure, I'd love to. So
yeah, well, it's beautiful. Yeah. You're going to hear it on WNRN starting this week. So, like I said, we really love the record. And I wanted to ask you one more thing. So we are very much a Grateful Dead-oriented station. We have a Grateful Dead and Friends specialty show on the weekends.
Awesome.
And you grew up in Palo Alto, where Jerry Garcia also grew up. And I know that there's a few Grateful Dead standards that, you played back with your family band and that sometimes you still incorporate into your sets. So I'm curious about the impact of some of Jerry Garcia and David Grisman's music on your artistry now.
Yeah, I think it had like a big impact because in the Bay Area, and I think everywhere, but especially in the Bay Area, like the bluegrass scene is so heavily influenced by like Old and in the Way and the bluegrass songs that Jerry would play. And I grew up just kind of jamming on a lot of songs people had learned from him without even knowing that that's where it came from. And then as I got older, I remember I started playing with my family, and we would play festivals around California where it was mandatory to cover the Dead. And so that's kind of how I first got into it. My mom she grew up in Palo Alto as well, so she kind of grew up like seeing them live, and her older sisters like would try to go backstage at their shows in the Bay Area and stuff. And so it just kind of was like I was around it a lot, around that music. And then we've had a fun time covering some of their songs in our band as well.
Molly Tuttle live on WNRN from In Your Ear Studios in Richmond. The new album is City of Gold. Playing tonight with Marcus King and Charlie Crockett. Doors at 6, the show's at 7 at Virginia Credit Union Live. Molly, we'd love it if you take us out with one.
Sure. We'll do a bit of a barn burner here. This one's called San Joaquin. How do we start it without Kyle?
1, 2, 3.
Riding on the San Joaquin, bringing in some humble green. Watch out for that bully, he'll think your pocket's clean, toss you into Hatchapee. When I get to Richmond, I'll be gold, as soon as the suitcase is sold. Till then I'm rolling down the line, looking for the next hot time. Riding on the San Joaquin. Well, San Joaquin is a mighty good line. There's a mighty good chance you'll blow your mind. Each time you hear that whistle blow, I'm smuggling in another load. Riding on the San Joaquin, bringing in some humble green. I'm just rolling down the line, looking for the next hot time. Riding on the San Joaquin. Police banged the boxcar door. Brakeman threw me overboard. Hit the ground and clicked my heels. Hop back on in Bakersfield. Riding on the San Joaquin, bringing in some humble green. Watch out for that bully, he'll pick your pockets clean, toss you into Hatchapee. When I get to Richmond, I'll be gold, as soon as the suitcase is sold. Till then I'm rolling down the line, looking for the next hot time. Riding on the San Joaquin. Well, the railroad queen, she wants a ride, I ain't ready to go. Got a few more hearts to break till I reach the end of the road.
Sam Joaquin, Molly Tuttle live on WNRN from In Your Ear Studios in Richmond, playing tonight at Virginia Credit Union Live for WNRN Presents Show with Marcus King and Charlie Crockett. Molly, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon.
Thanks to everybody at In Your Ear, Andrea, Carlos, Paul, Billy, Charlie. Thanks to Liz from WNRN. For WNRN, I'm Desiree Moses.